I'm showing you 5 common detailing issues that beginners always mess up and the exact products and tools I use to fix them every time. In our private Facebook groups, a lot of detailers post some of the biggest issues they're facing from an interior-exterior detail perspective. Let's look at just a couple. The first image you're looking at on screen is a great example of what wicking looks like in a headliner, and this is definitely due to the fact that there's a leak inside the car. And so you can see we're looking kind of at the cover of the sunroof, so water has obviously gotten in, it's been dirty water, it gets into the fabric, and then that water starts to reach into the other fabric, and you get this really harsh kind of dark staining on the outer rim, and then you get kind of just a lesser but still a stain all covered in the middle of it, right? That's what wicking looks like, sort of traced on the outside and stained on the inside. You can also see another picture of a headliner that just is really dirty, like somebody probably spilled something, maybe they hit a bump and the Coke flew up from the cup and hit the ceiling. Here's exactly how I take care of headliner in situations like this, whether it's wicking or just staining. Number one, I use a product called Release It. Generally speaking, I'm the one who says, hey, use one product that's really versatile that can be used on a lot of different areas. This is an area of detailing I would say don't do that. Release It, and I'll hook it up in the YouTube description box below, is a really specific type of cleaner, and headliner is a really specific type of material, and it sucks no matter who you are or which way you go about it. And so you want to use the right chemical. Now, I don't dilute this product at all. Number one, you can just dab some on a microfiber towel and clean the headliner that way. But when I'm dealing with ultra bad staining like this or this wicking, I like to put it in some sort of just basic spray bottle, and sometimes even a foam pump sprayer or a foam spray bottle, and I will spray it directly onto the stain and let it sit for about a minute. I then take a totally dry microfiber towel, fold it into fourths, and I start scrubbing and drying as much as possible. This is super simple, but it's going to save you with headliner. Anytime I come in to clean something like this, I'm bringing not one microfiber towel, but probably more like 3 or 4, because each time I agitate the cleaner with my microfiber towel, I want it to be drying the chemical at the exact same time. So the second my microfiber towel is done with that first pass, I'm either going to flip it to a completely dry side or come to a completely new dry microfiber towel, because you cannot expect to fix this if you come back in with the same side of the microfiber towel that's already damp. The only time I'm going to use an already damp microfiber is if there's a little bit of water on it and I want to use it to spread the chemical around a little bit easier. Every time I come in, I want to make sure I'm using a dry side or a dry towel. I want to be absorbing the chemical at the same time as agitating it. That alone and those 2 steps will really save you in situations like this. Now, the next few pictures you're seeing on screen is classic overspray, whether it's on the door handle or it's on the car paint. It looks like it's blue overspray, and this is just fantastic to show you exactly what this looks like. Overspray is a nightmare because number one, it's everywhere. Number two, it's just this tiny freckling, and so it's a very tedious and annoying thing to have to deal with. And number three, it's seriously stuck on the paint, right? It's like glue. The easiest way, without a doubt, to take care of overspray, if you've already tried a clay bar, if you've already tried some sort of stronger, maybe like tree sap remover or chemical, or maybe like a citrus-based cleaner like citral degreaser that tends to remove adhesive, if none of that is working, I'm gonna come in with a white terry cloth towel, believe it or not, cotton towel, not necessarily microfiber, and I'm gonna use lacquer thinner. I'm gonna pour the lacquer thinner onto the towel just like I would a bottle of rubbing alcohol, and I'm gonna come into each area, very lightly scrub as much as I can, let the lacquer thinner loosen it, and then pull it off. Number one, lacquer thinner, generally speaking, and you have to test this in an inconspicuous area, it's not gonna damage clear coat, okay? Especially when the clear coat is in really good condition. So I should qualify it with saying it's not a super old car or not oxidized paint. Good condition clear coat, relatively new-ish car. Secondly, the reason why I like to use a terry cloth towel is because if you're using lacquer thinner and you're using a microfiber towel, most people don't use white microfiber towels, they use blue or yellow or green. The lacquer thinner will actually transfer the color of the towel to the car paint. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. You don't want to have to then create a mess that you also have to clean up afterwards, and I've done that more than one time. So a white terry cloth towel is what I like to use, and it's also something that I throw away afterwards. So this is a totally like disposable game. Do not keep the towel and do not wash it. Now, after you remove the overspray, depending on how aggressive you've had to be, you might want to polish the paint. It's just something that comes with the territory, and so you have to price these types of jobs appropriately. And yes, by the way, generally speaking, you can use lacquer thinner even on things like black trim, but for those of you who are scared because you've never done it and you've never seen it work, especially if it's black trim that's damaged, I would reach for something like rapid remover, or I would reach for something like citral degreaser. But in any situation where you're using any of the chemicals that I just mentioned, not on the clear coat, you want to come in immediately and as fast as possible afterwards to wash off all the residue. And it goes without saying, but a wash needs to happen after you're done with the lacquer thinner on the entire car. Get rid of all of the residue. Don't leave any of that to sit for any amount of time. Now, the next picture you're looking at is a guy in the group who used P&S Interior Express Cleaner diluted 10:1 on a 1998 Lexus, and the black window buttons here have that white chalky dreaded dreaded residue that if you've never experienced it, maybe this is the first you're seeing it, but if you've detailed for any length of time, you know that when you're using a strong all-purpose cleaner, especially, and I always say, on smooth, black, old plastics, this can happen. This is where it's most commonly seen, that white chalky residue after an all-purpose cleaner. The reason I like to show this is because most detailers, especially publicly, they say, hey, don't use Meguiar's all-purpose cleaner, use P&S Interior Express cleaner because you don't want the white chalky residue. The truth is, and this is literal empirical proof, with any all-purpose cleaner, including Interior Express cleaner, it can happen. It is less likely in my experience with Interior Express cleaner, but it can still happen. Now, simply put, the easiest way to avoid this type of thing is to use a cleaner that it's never going to happen with when you're dealing with smooth, black, old trim pieces, plastic pieces like this. Something like Optimum No Rinse, okay, sprayed onto a microfiber towel and just using some elbow grease to start scrubbing. It's going to take a little bit longer to remove the surface dirt from a surface like this, but the Optimum No Rinse is not going to damage anything. It's going to give you a little bit of lubrication and cleaner at the same time to make your job easier. The microfiber towel itself is designed to actually grab dirt, and so while yes, you have to be a little bit more forceful, you're not going to get this left over. If you do have this left over, number one, clean the entire surface off, make sure it's dry, and number two, you can follow up with some solution finish and it actually will cover this problem up. And oftentimes this problem, the white chalky residue on certain surfaces, does actually come away or go away on its own, though sometimes it doesn't, specifically actually on buttons like this and on the red little button that you click to open or detach your seat belt. So oftentimes this can only be covered, not fixed. Now, the video you're watching on screen with all of those terrible scratches on this green paint came from a member of the group who said, hey, my customer ran over some like paint on the road. They wanted to get it off. And so they used a scrubbing sponge from their kitchen to try to scrub off the paint. And it looks like they actually did get the paint off, but they've got a bunch of scratches left over. The beautiful thing about scratches like this when a customer comes in and tries to do something on their own is that scratches, even though they look terrible, are actually very surface level. And what I use to attack these is normally a Lake Country microfiber cutting disc, and I'll use something like Sonax Max Cut and then quickly follow up with their perfect finish. And generally speaking, jobs like this, again, very intimidating from the outside. They actually don't take very long to finish whatsoever because it's similar to someone using a magic eraser on their car paint. They've abraded the paint, but they haven't put any deep scratches in that take any sort of extra measures. And so even a lighter polish with a medium to heavy cut foam or microfiber pad for just a very minimal amount of time on the surface of the paint will fix this. And it's a great example of what I like to call the cosmetic or the aftermarket car care industry. The bigger the gap or the bigger the ignorance gap between what you know and what the customer knows, the more valuable the service is to them, and you can price it appropriately rather than being an hourly wage job. It's a really fantastic way to start getting into what I would call like fee-based services or value-driven services. The customer doesn't have the tools or the know-how or the skill set to take care of that problem on their own, and they're really scared about it because it looks so bad. So when you step in, again, as a cosmetic car care service provider or cosmetic car care expert, knowing that it is something you can take care of and it's not something a body shop has to do, that's where you can add a lot of value to your customers and really start to expand your business. And of course, you can see in the after result that our member here at autodetailer.com did an amazing job, and the paint just, came back totally to its original condition, maybe even better than what the rest of the paint looks like. And this final picture you're looking at here is an absolutely destroyed carpet, and on top of all that, it's a minivan and the carpet is tan, and you can see based on these two pictures, the interior probably is in such bad condition, most of us would say no to a job like this. Now, the first thing I want to say about jobs like this is, number one, it is often easier to honestly just say no, even if you're in the beginning stages of your detailing business. But secondly, if you are going to attack something like this, you have to decide first if you're going to remove the seats or not remove the seats, because it is so bad and will require so much chemical, so much steaming, and so much extraction, you cannot afford to deliver any actual real results unless you pull the seats out. If you're not going to pull the seats out, this is where there has to be so much expectation management on the front end with your customer of what you are and are not going to be able to do, that this is why I say it's most likely easiest to just say, no, I'm not going to take this job, because this particular member was talking about how to price a job like this. And the bottom line is it's probably not worth any price, because the gap between what your customer expects and wants and what you're going to be able to deliver, especially if you're a detailer in the beginning beginning stages where you don't remove seats and you don't actually have the tools and products necessary to make a dent in something like this, it's just not worth it. This is what I call an all or nothing job. You're either gonna do all of it or you're gonna do none of it, because if you only do 50% or even 80%, you're not gonna push that scale of visual appeal up enough to justify the price point you're gonna have to charge. So you either say, hey, this is a $750 job and we're gonna go all out, or don't pay me anything, because if you pay me $500 for even 75%, you are gonna be disappointed because I'm gonna have to leave some things out. All of that said, when I look at something like this, the number one tool I think about is actually the Rip Clean Better Extractor Kit. The reason for that is because when you can create an extractor using something like a 4-gallon rigid shop vac vacuum, it actually is really helpful in situations like this, because I don't want to pull out my mighty extractor, honestly, when I'm doing something like this, because there's so much debris, so many crumbs. Even after vacuuming, it's in such bad shape. I want something that I can just pull up a bunch of crap and throw it into a vacuum that's not going to be damaged, and it's just going to be poured out and dumped out, and it's going to make my life easier. So if I wanted to introduce heat, I'm going to introduce a steamer, but for a job like this, the Rip Clean Better Extractor Kit is really going to be something amazing, because it's got a wide mouth. You can suck up a bunch of stuff. You're getting all of the power from the rigid shop vac, which is honestly more powerful than most even medium to entry level extractors that are $1,000, $2,000. And it's something that's going to allow you to just throw it around as you're in the process of doing this without thinking about damaging anything, which does become important when you're 5 hours into a job like this and you're not wanting to be tedious. You just want to get it done. All right, guys, there you go. Any specific tools or products I highlighted for this video specifically, I'll link up in the YouTube description box below. And if you're a beginner and you want a full list of tools and products I suggest for anybody starting out, or you just want to compare what you're using to what I would suggest you use if you're on a budget, go below to wilsonautodetailing.com, grab the Pro Detailing Toolbox. It's a totally free resource. And if you're already a business owner and you want to learn to scale your detailing business faster, you can join us at autodetailer.com and plug into really what is the most qualified network of detailers, I think, in the entire nation, scaling really awesome businesses. And if you got value from this video, you'll probably also get value from the video on screen where I show you my interior detailing process and things that I actually cut out of it so that I can detail much faster.